Hey everyone, Clay from Clayviation.com, here to talk to you today about one of the most common fears that people have about flying, and that is what happens if the engine stops working. It's a reasonable cause for concern, but today we're going to fly you through one such scenario so you can see what that looks like. Here we are in our 172 Cessna, flying around on a nice clear day at about 5,500 feet, enjoying some time in the air with good friends, when all of a sudden our engine stops working, just like you had hoped wouldn't happen, and I assured you wouldn't. Actually, I would never do that. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to pull out our mixture, I'm going to pull out our throttle. Alright, we now have no power in our engine. There is still a little bit of a sound, but that's because of the simulator's mechanics of sound. But notice what happens here. Notice how we're not just dropping. That's what everyone seems to think will happen. Some of the movies, I think, even seem to do a good job of showing that. The engines fail and the nose dives over towards the ground and everyone's screaming. Now, it's actually quite serene. The first thing we're going to be doing here is we're going to be pulling our airspeed back. We're going to pull this nose up until our airspeed's at about 65. We're looking for about 65 knots as our best glide speed. That's going to get us the furthest distance per altitude lost. So we're going to work on trimming the airplane out to fly that naturally, hands off. There, it's nice and quiet now that that prop has stopped spinning. And we're going to be looking for a good field to put it down in. Now, I've got Athens there off my left wing, but that looks a good ways away. I mean, we're at 5,000 feet. Athens is 800 feet and some change. But I don't know that I can make that. Now, I could look around here and say, okay, well, what's a good field to land in? There's a lot of trees, but maybe there's a good field right there off my right wing. And let's see, there's a little strip of some sort. I wonder what that is. But on this cross-country flight planning that I've been doing, I know that I just passed an airport winder. Should be right behind me. So with good situational awareness, I'm actually going to recall that data and kind of spin around here back to the... Go and get some airspeed off. Spin around here back and head west. Let me see if this airport is right behind me as I remember. Now, of course, in this scenario with trying to pick a field and getting my airspeed on, I am also going to be picking, look at that, there's Winder. Let's put her down there. What do you think? Nice, perfectly long strip of airplane-ready runway for us. Is such a better option than putting this down in a field somewhere, having tea with the cows, the Chick-fil-A cows, I'm sure. It's not Sunday, so the cows will be active. It's always Sunday you want Chick-fil-A the most. You ever notice that? Alright, let's fly the airplane. So in a real emergency, I would be attempting to restart this airplane. I'd be looking at my fuel selector valve and making sure that those are on, not off, that I switch to left, switch to right, see both tanks, see what's going on. I'd be making sure my mixture's full rich. I'd be making sure that I'd try to restart over here on the ignition. Let me lose a little airspeed here. Now, for the purposes of this demonstration, we're not going to fix any of that, as this airplane would fly right away. It works perfectly. But even though we're going to put it on a runway, we're still going to shut this aircraft down before our wheels touch down. And the reason for that is because on a normal approach, if something went wrong, I would simply put the power in and go around and try again. If a deer came out on the runway, or if I didn't like how high or how low I was. But in this case, there's no option other than to put it down. And so we're going to want to make sure that if something were to go wrong and we were to run off the runway and run into any trees or anything like that, I don't have fuel flowing and spark flowing through this airplane. That's going to keep me as safe as possible. So I don't want to use any flaps until I know I have made this field. So I'm going to keep my, if you notice, I've been a little quick here. I need to pull my airspeed back. I've just been trying to keep this airport in view for you. But I'm not going to use any flaps until I know that I've made the field. I will go ahead and shut the aircraft off though. Let's say we're committing to this field. Let me go ahead and turn this fuel selector to off. Got our mixture pulled out, our throttle pulled out. Go ahead and get this ignition turned to off as well. So we've got no spark in the airplane, or no gas in the airplane rather. Go ahead and turn our beacon off, and I'm going to wait to turn our master switch off until just before landing, because I'm probably going to need that for my flaps. As a matter of fact, I know I'll need that for my flaps. I don't want to turn my master switch off and then go, oh well, I've made the field, but I'm high, and I'd love to put in a notch or two of flaps. So at this point, I'm going to treat this like a high approach, a normal, albeit high approach. Those 4 white bars are telling me that I'm high. 2 red and 2 white would tell me that I'm right on path. I'm going to try to get over here and get aligned with it here, but I want to stay high given the option. If I were to be too low, I've got nowhere to go if I bleed off that airspeed. I'm sorry, that altitude, and I've got nowhere to go if I get too low other than in the trees or in a nearby field. So I don't want that to happen, but I'm feeling pretty good about making this field. I'm just going to head over to the left here a little bit, get lined up with it. I'm trying to keep it in view for you here. I think the Zaxby's headquarters is here at Winder, so at least while our airplane is being repaired, perhaps we could go over to Zaxby's headquarters and see if they've got some wings and things for us or something. Alright, so I'm still a little high on the approach, but I'm feeling really good about this. I'm going to go with a no flaps approach at this point, and I'm actually going to go ahead and turn our battery and alternator off, our master switch, so that I can focus solely on landing this airplane. First thing we're always told in training when something goes wrong is to fly the airplane. I don't want to get my head buried in the cockpit or trying to figure out what's going on or talking to someone and forget to fly the airplane. As long as I am keeping airflow over these wings, this airplane is going to fly. As long as I've got a little altitude underneath me to trade for forward movement. So I'm still high, you can see. Still got 4 whites. But I'm liking this because if I get low, can't do anything about it. There's a red. So that means we're starting to get near that. There's 2 red. See, I've got no flaps in, so that's right on glide path right here. With the 2 red, 2 white. Drifting a little to the right. Let's go ahead and get this back in line. Right rudder to get us over the center line, and let's go ahead and put this thing down. What do you say? A little bounce there. Alright, I'm down. It wasn't the prettiest thing in the world, but I'm down, folks, and I'm gonna go ahead and stop it right here, and I'm gonna get out quick. Thanks for watching. Leave some comments below. Look forward to your feedback. We'll fly again soon.